XC1 Hotel Golf, Delta Lima 80.
KK4 LWR.
KM4 LAO, K7 TAB, DM.
K7 TAB, Kilo Mike 4, Lima Alpha Oscar, Echo Mike 83.
Thanks, Ruth, 33.
QSL, thanks, Chris.
K7 TAB, Whiskey Echo 4 Bravo, Echo Mike 62.
W4B, K7 TAB, Delta Mike 43.
Whiskey Delta 5, Echo November Hotel.
W4B, K7 TAB, Delta Mike 43.
Got you in the log, Chris, QSL.
Thanks, 33.
Kilo Mike 4 Lima Alpha Oscar, November 3 Golf Sierra, Echo Mike 28.
Satellite Whiskey Delta 5, Echo November Hotel.
KK4 LWR. KC1 Hotel Golf.
KM4, Echo Mike 83, November 3, Golf Sierra.
Whiskey Hotel 600.
Oscar, here is Kilo Yankee Victor, Mike 25.
Echo November Hotel. KB1 PBH, Whiskey Echo 4 Bravo, Echo Mike 60.
Whiskey Echo 4 station, Kilo Bravo 1, Papa Victor Hotel, Foxtrot, November 42.
KB1 PBH, Whiskey Echo 4 Bravo, and Echo Mike 62, QSL. November.
Okay, WE4B, KB1 PVH 59, Fox, November 42.
Mike Juliet, Echo November 52.
November X-ray, Echo Mike 50.
November X-ray 9 Bravo, Kilo Golf 4, Alpha Kilo Victor, Fox Mike 05.
Hey John, KG4 AQV, NX9B, Echo Mike 50.
5 Echo November.
QSL 73, KG4 AQV.
Kilo Bravo 1, Papa Victor Hotel, XC1 Hotel Golf, Delta Lima 80. XC1 Hotel Golf, Kilo Bravo 1, Papa Victor Hotel, Foxtrot, November 42. QSL, thank you.
Kilo Bravo 1, Papa Victor Hotel. This is Kilo Mike 4, Lima Alpha Oscar, Echo Mike 83.
Hey Ruth, Foxtrot, November 42.
QSL, thank you.
Kilo Mike 4, Lima Alpha Oscar, Kilo Mike 5, Yankee Victor, Echo Mike 2, 3.
Kilo Mike 5, Yankee Victor, Kilo Mike 5, Yankee Victor, AM4 LAO, Echo Mike 83.
Delta Golf,
KM5 Yankee Victor, XC1 Hotel Golf, Delta Lima 80.
Kilo Mike 5, Yankee Victor. This is Whiskey Echo 4 Bravo, and Echo Mike 62, QSL.
QSL, Whiskey, I didn't catch all your calls.
Whiskey Echo 4 Bravo, Whiskey Echo 4 Bravo, Echo Mike 62.
Whiskey 8 Kilo Delta Golf, exit level 91.
Whiskey Echo 4 Bravo from Whiskey Hotel 6 Echo.
Whiskey Hotel 6 Echo, I believe it was. Whiskey Echo 4 Bravo, Echo Mike 62.
Whiskey Echo 4 Bravo from Whiskey Hotel 6 Echo. Good, Echo November 80.
So,
Kilo Mike 5 Yankee Victor, November 3 Golf Sierra, Echo Mike 28.
Whiskey 8 Kilo Delta 91.
Whiskey 9 Bravo.
Kilo Kilo Mike 5, Yankee Victor, November 3 Golf Sierra, Echo Mike 28.
P8 Kilo Delta Golf at November 91.
The Echo Mike 28 station, call sign again, sir.
November 3 Golf Sierra, November 3 Golf Sierra.
QSL, November 3 Golf Sierra, Echo Mike 28 to 59, to Kilo Mike 5 Yankee Victor, Echo Mike 25, over.
QSL, thank you, 73.
Thank you, 73.
Echo. Echo from
November 3 Golf Sierra from Whiskey Hotel 6 Echo. Whiskey Hotel 6 Echo, November 3 Golf Sierra, Echo Mike 28.
Kilo Delta Golf.
Whiskey Hotel 6 Echo from November X-Ray 9 Bravo.
This is Whiskey Hotel 6 Echo, say again.
November X-Ray 9 Bravo, Echo Mike 50. From November X-Ray Bravo, Echo Mike 50.
Whiskey Hotel 6 Echo, November 3 Golf Sierra. Did you QSL?
K7 TAB Whiskey 1 Papa Alpha.
November 3 Golf Sierra from Whiskey Hotel 6 Echo. November 3 Golf Sierra, you are 559 Echo Mike 28 QSL. 30. Whiskey Hotel 6 Echo, Whiskey Hotel 6 Echo, November 3 Golf Sierra QSL. QSL, November 3 Golf Sierra from Whiskey Hotel 6 Echo, Echo November 80.
K7 TAB.
QSL.
And 3 ROY, Kilo Bravo 1, Papa Victor Hotel, Foxtrot, November 42.
I have a tree in the way again.
7860 from November X-Ray 9 Bravo.
K7 TAB Whiskey 1 Papa Alpha.
N3 ROY, Kilo Bravo 1, Papa Victor Hotel, Foxtrot. Kilo Bravo 2, Kilo Bravo 1, Victor Bravo Hotel, Kilo Bravo 1. Here in the Foxtrot, November 22. Foxtrot, November 42. QSL, Foxtrot, November 42. N3 ROY, Kilo Bravo 1, Papa Victor Hotel, Foxtrot, November 42. Hey John, 59, Fox, November 42.
K7 TAB 1 Alpha.
Kilo Bravo 2, Yankee Sierra India, Foxtrot, November 22.
ABQYSI, Kilo Golf 4, Alpha Kilo Victor, Fox Mike 05.
QSL, good evening, John. Have a good night.
Have a good one, 73 KG4
K7 TAB with Papa Alpha.
You're late to the party, Bill.
Yeah, I think I lost the bird behind some of the obstructions. Yep, live streaming on a cell phone. That's pretty common these days, you know. I think we have enough. My family plane has enough. Yeah. What's up, Roy? Okie dokes. So, reading back through the comments, who is he talking to? Flagpole. Antenna to the light pole. Nope, nope. See greatness. You've got a lot to learn, my friend. This is a directional antenna. I'm communicating through a satellite. So, you can't use the flagpole for VHF and UHF. You might be able to use it for HF, but these frequencies are such that they require a smaller antenna. Yeah, Heron, thanks for watching. Okay, I'll explain some things since we got some people on here that haven't done a lot of ham radio or radio stuff. This is the radio, and you can see the frequencies. And let me unplug some of this stuff. So here's what's up. So I was just communicating through a satellite. So I send a signal. I can't use a satellite dish either. So here's how this works. So it's basically like public safety, like a police officer or an EMS person. So this is just like, you know, you might have, if you were a police officer, there'd be a rubber duck antenna on top of this. I don't have that because I'm using this big antenna. So basically, there's things called repeaters. Hey, Tech Spotter. There's things called repeaters, and what it does is you transmit on one frequency, and the repeater's up on a high, like a TV tower or a mountain. So you transmit on one frequency. In this case, I transmit on 145.85 megahertz. And the repeater I'm talking through retransmits simultaneously. It retransmits me at 436.795. I'm on the wrong frequency now. So it's actually a little bit off right now because of the Doppler shift. So the repeater I'm talking through tonight is a satellite. And it's in low Earth orbit, which is a range between, like, I don't know, 150 to 300 miles, I would say. What am I doing? I'm explaining how this all works. So there's a satellite, and it passes over. It's in range for about 10 to 15 minutes. And when it's in range, I can talk through it. And this antenna over here is directional. So I literally aim the antenna at where the satellite is. And I know where it is because I have tracking software on my phone. So this antenna is directional, which means that it sends and receives energy better in certain directions than it does in others. In this case, it's like literally the direction that I'm aiming it. You may have seen something like this before if you've ever seen hunters. You know, it doesn't beep. Some satellites do have a beacon. This one doesn't have a beacon. So if you ever seen a hunter with an antenna like this, it's the same exact thing. It's this is called a Yagi antenna, and it's named after the Japanese man that invented it, Yagi Uda. I think there's two people maybe. So this is actually two antennas in one. The shorter elements are the elements that I use to receive this particular satellite, and the longer elements are the ones I use to transmit to the satellite. And you can see that there's a cable connection there and a cable connection there. So those are the feed points. Yeah, this radio, this satellite receives my voice during transmitting. Did you guys how did you guys find this video? There's several people on here that don't have any experience with this, and most of the people that watch these videos normally have experience with this, and they know me even. So I'm curious, did you guys somebody share this on a forum or something? So anyway, two antennas on one boom. This square metal rod here is called a boom. And then those cables go into a circuit board in the back of this, and it combines them. It's kind of like a cable TV splitter, and it combines them, and then it has one output. And that output goes to the radio. So it just screws into the antenna connector right here. Okay, so it just screws this on here, and I'm not gonna do it because I can't get it on right now, but so yeah, and then this radio, like I said, I transmit, and it simultaneously retransmits. I actually will hook it up, and you can see the lights come on when I transmit, which is kind of cool, I guess. So there's a red light and a green light up at the top. So when I transmit up at the top here, let me turn the power down. You'll see the red light. That means TX. It means transmit. The Thought Imperium, and yeah. So I can show you some other things you want to hear, like NOAA weather radio. Go to 162.550 megahertz and unplug the. Oh, I should have done it up here. 162.550. So that's in the United States we have NOAA weather radio. So that's a VHF frequency. And I can also listen to local repeaters. So there's a local repeater. And the frequency for this one is 147.27. So the way this works, this is another repeater, and trying to figure out how to monitor the input. There's a way to monitor the input. Duplex.
He's the one that started that stuff, was one of his stories.
Let's see. So the satellite, it just takes my signal and retransmits it.
And yeah, Peggy could.
Okay, so you see how it says 147.27 and there's a plus there? That means that there's an offset. So this is a repeater we're listening to. It's up on a TV tower, and if I want to talk through the repeater, what I do is I transmit a different frequency, and here's a different frequency. 147.87. So this there's a radio. You could think of it as two radios. There's a radio up on a TV tower or a mountain, you know, if you have a different type of repeater. There's no mountains in North Carolina where I am. Well, so anyway, it listens on 147.87. If it hears a signal, it retransmits it simultaneously at 147.27. So that's essentially what the satellite does, except it uses a different band. It's a cross band. So it actually receives around like 400. So yeah, so that's pretty much how that works. And if you don't have a ham radio license, you can't do this sort of stuff. So you got to get a license. You can listen, and you can get a radio or a couple radios for anywhere between $30 to $100, $200 to get started in satellite communications. So yeah, let me know. Yeah. So it's pretty simple, right? I mean, it's just a teeny little antenna and then a small radio. You hold that in your hand, you hold that in your hand, and literally like a satellite came over the horizon right here, and then it flew about, the max elevation was 25 degrees, so say like that off of the ground, and it went away somewhere over here. So this antenna, I just basically just pick it up and I aim it, and I know that I have satellite tracking software, and I knew the satellite was coming from let's see, I guess that's the southwest. It was coming from the southwest, and I knew what time it was coming, and I knew what time it was going to be in the middle of the pass, which is the same, which coincides with where it's going to be the highest point of the pass. So of course when it first comes over the horizon, it's right here, it's low. And as it comes higher and higher, say if it were going straight over, it would just go like this. Most of the time they don't go straight over. So it's actually, it was northwest of me, so that's northwest. And then it went away towards the north. So I just track it kind of like this. Like that. Simple as that. There you go. This antenna, you can get it for around $100. And the way you guys are hearing the audio is I have a voice recorder. And the voice recorder has an input, an audio input at the top. And that little green cable there plugs into the radio. On the side of the radio, there's a speaker out. So the cable goes into that, and then it goes into the voice recorder, and then it goes into that splitter. And the splitter goes to headphones, and then the other cable goes to this speaker here. This is a Bluetooth speaker. I'm not using Bluetooth, I just have a cable connected directly into it. So I'll turn it off now.
Powering off.
And this speaker's just taped to this tripod here, and this little thing holds my my phone to do the live stream. The speaker out on the THD72 is mono, correct? Yeah, there's with radio, with communications radio, two-way radio, it does not, there's not stereo signals, it's all mono. So, yeah, you can talk pretty far. I can talk across continents, I can talk across all the way, so I'm on the east coast of the United States. I can talk all the way to the west coast. Depending on how high the satellite is, you can talk even further. There's some satellites you can talk across the Atlantic Ocean to Europe from the East Coast. I haven't done that yet. Most of the satellites I work are a little bit, they're on the low height. Some of the ones that are higher, you can talk further. So basically the way satellite communications is, it's what they call line of sight. So essentially, if there's nothing between you and the satellite, you can talk to the satellite. And if there's nothing between another person and the satellite, you can talk to that person. So as long as you can see the satellite, I mean, you can't literally see it, but as long as you have a clear path to the satellite and somebody else has a clear path to the satellite, that means you can communicate theoretically with each other. Okay, I see why you're asking about stereo. So this audio cable I have, what would you find at Area 51? You can listen to whatever you want. It might be encrypted though. This audio cable, actually, I take the one input or the one output from the radio, and I connect it to both the left and the right channels. So that way I can hear the signal from the radio on both channels. So yeah, the radio obviously doesn't have left and right, it just has one, probably the left. And then I connect both the left and the right channel to the same thing. So yeah, that's how that works. Hey Daniel, AK4KV, also in Raleigh. I'm actually in Cary right now. We're not far away there from each other though. So see greatness. You know, one thing I don't like about the live stream on YouTube is the comments that come in through the live stream they're not saved as far as I can tell. So after this ends, it'll be processed and uploaded, and there'll be 0 comments on it. So I can't go back and read the comments or respond to them. So 2.7, that sounds weird. I don't think 2.7 thousand. Yeah, 2,700. You know, it feels pretty cool. When I broke 2,000, I was psyched. But the funny thing is, I've gained like 500 subscribers in the last 28 days. I just checked earlier. And it's not really because of me uploading a lot of content. I think what it is that there's a lot of interest in satellites right now because new satellites have been launched. In the past 3 months, we've had 2 or 3, we've had AO91 and AO92 launched. And we're about to have another FM satellite launched. And then we're gonna have a linear satellite. All the satellites I work are FM. They're easy to work. The linear ones require a little bit more complicated hardware. So, thanks Roy, helping out. Yep, there's a D-Star satellite, apparently, hey, in 0 SSC. There's just a ton of satellites going up, and I think I gained 500 plus subscribers, mostly because more people are on YouTube searching for satellites. So it feels cool, but it's also, I almost feel like it's not like, you know, I didn't really, kind of almost didn't deserve it because I didn't do anything to gain them. Because usually the way I gain subscribers is I release a new video and people subscribe when I release a new video. What's up, Canada? You're in Canada. But I think at this rate, I'm probably gonna hit 3,000 in like, I don't know, you know, within a month. I mean, I gained 500 in 28 days, so I can probably gain 300 in less than a month if it keeps going the way it's going. So I guess I'll take advantage of all this interest in satellites and keep uploading, hopefully. Yeah, they already sent up too. One of the D-Star satellites, D-Star 1. The Russians launched that satellite and a bunch of satellites for the first time from their new launch, I don't know what you call it, facility in their own country. Normally they go from Kazakhstan or whatever, and they punched in the wrong information in that rocket, and they didn't go high enough, and they all deorbited. So they sent up D-Star 1 Phoenix Rising, and then that one, I don't know, supposedly the operator said they heard it, but nobody else heard it, so I don't think it really did work. Get that sweet YouTube ad revenue. Ha! I don't even get ad revenue. You know, I think I could have, but they demonetized everybody unless you have like 5,000 hours in the past year of watch time and 1,000 subscribers. And I was not quite to the number of watch hours they needed. So yeah, you can listen to scanners over the internet. It's pretty cool. That's what Broadcastify does. The gigahertz birds, yeah, I want to. I need to build a ground station. I actually just bought a bunch of stuff for a nice ground station. I brought a Yaesu G5500 antenna rotator, azimuth elevation rotator. I got the LVB tracker interface to go from the Yaesu control box to the computer. I got a little antenna to go on the Yaesu antenna rotator. I got an ICOM IC910H. It's a 2 meter 70 centimeter, and it's got the L-band 1.2 gigahertz module. So I've got like almost all the stuff you need to set up. I mean, I could set up a station right now. I want to have a couple more antennas so I could do polarity switching, but I could set up a base station, satellite ground station right now. I just live in an apartment, and I don't know what to do about that. I was thinking I might find somebody that had some land out in the country, and then I could, you know, set up a remote station over the internet so I could connect to it. Obviously, I'd like to be at the controls physically, but that's an option. I've been thinking about maybe buying a house, but that's kind of intimidating. I've never even bought a car. My parents bought me a car, so and I still drive it, although I got another one. But what's up, Daniel? Yeah, SDR, a lot of people, the RTL SDRs are a good way to get into radio. You can listen to sats with those too. Surprising ham radio experience. What is, Heron asks, what was the most surprising ham radio experience I've had? Well, I don't know. I won't say it wasn't surprising. One time, so the biggest thing I've wanted to do with ham radio is to talk to astronauts on board the space station. Yeah, Roy knows what's up. So I've been trying to talk to the astronauts on the space station. I don't know if you know this, but on the International Space Station, they have a ham radio, and they use it mostly to talk to schools. They have scheduled contacts. They fly over for 10 minutes. The students at schools can ask them questions. Occasionally, the astronauts will get on the radio and talk to people like me randomly for unscheduled contacts. They'll just get on and they'll start calling. It really takes an enthusiast ham radio operator to make that happen. Otherwise, they get their licenses to talk to schools. That's what most of the astronauts do. In their spare time, they take pictures of Earth, they talk to their family, sometimes they play guitar. That's what they do in their free time. They don't talk on the radio. But occasionally, there is one that's really into ham radio, and they will make contacts with people randomly. Doug Wheelock did that in 2010, I believe. And we haven't had an enthusiast ham radio operator that was in the space station since then. So I've been trying to talk to them for a really long time, and it didn't work. So One time I started calling them and I heard a Russian cosmonaut all of a sudden just start transmitting, and I thought he was talking to me, and it turned out he wasn't. He was calling a station in Europe, and he was like going over the East Coast of the United States, and he started calling them really early. He was calling for a scheduled school contact. And so I was just calling like, hey, hopefully somebody will hear me. And all of a sudden he's like, this is Romeo Sierra 0, India Sierra Sierra, do you copy? And I'm like, yeah, I copy, do you copy me? And then I realized later he was calling an Italian station, so he wasn't talking to me at all. And he wouldn't have heard me, because when they talk to the schools, they use unpublished uplink frequencies. So he was listening to a different frequency, but I could hear him. So that was pretty cool. That was probably it was like surprising, but it didn't turn out to be what I wanted. I finally did talk to an astronaut just about 3 weeks ago via a scheduled contact. I helped a school here in my town, a middle school, talk to an astronaut, Scott Tingle. And so I can say I talked to somebody in space. So I did it. It wasn't the way I wanted to do it. I wanted to do it with a random unscheduled contact, but I'll take it. It was pretty awesome. You know what was surprising about that, though, is I have called them so many times, and I always hope that they'll respond, but I never expect them to respond. So when I was calling them for the scheduled school contact, I had this really surreal moment. When I first started calling, I was like, November Alpha 1 Sierra Sierra, November Alpha 1 Sierra Sierra, this is Kilo Golf 4 Alpha Kilo Victor, do you copy? And I just, like, my mind kind of flipped out, because I was like, wait a minute, they might respond, or they will respond. And it was just like, my mind was like totally flipped. It was just so weird. So that was really cool. I would say I didn't expect that to happen, that surprising kind of feeling. And then after 3 calls, they returned, and then we made contact. It was a wonderful contact. And there's a video on my channel right now called Our Heirs Contact Part 1 that explains how we applied or sent a contact proposal, and how we got accepted, and you know, how I got involved with the school. One of my colleagues at my job had a daughter starting at the school, and there was this science teacher, Mr. Hunter, that was really gung-ho about it, and he wrote up 2,000 words in the application over the weekend, and the deadline was like in 2 weeks, and we got it in and we got accepted. It was really fun. So yeah, one of my dreams came true. Talk to an astronaut on board the International Space Station. So I'm going to be making a couple more videos. I'm going to make a video about how we built the stations to talk to them, because you can't use a portable setup like I've been using here. You got to have something robust. You actually have to have 2 radio stations, a primary and a backup. So I got help from another ham here that has even more experience with satellites than me, a whole lot more, and he had experience with base stations. That's Mark N8MH. So he helped me with this contact a lot. And that's how I learned about all this base station stuff, and that's why I ended up buying all this equipment to build my own base station, my own ground station, the Yaesu G5500 I was referring to earlier. Because it was like, wow, I mean, it would be so cool if I could just like go into my room and just get on a satellite and make contacts, you know, and not have to like drive out to this parking lot, set up all this gear, you know, when I'm finished, go back. It would be so nice if I could just, you know, casually get on the radio and talk to people on the satellite. I just got to figure out where to put the antenna, basically. I have a landlord that's actually pretty cool. He said he thought it would be cool if I put an antenna on the apartment, but I'm not sure. This was when I first moved in. I asked him about it, and I'm not sure if he imagined that I would put a robotic antenna that would move around on top of the roof. But another thing is my apartment's kind of in a hole, and there's trees all around it, so even if I put it up there, I wouldn't get really good you know, coverage. It would be kind of interfered. Wow, that's awesome. You had a landlord that was a ham, and you talked to Charles Simeone in 2007. Wow, man, I can't believe you didn't get a video. So yeah, please tell me. Tripod. So okay, Manuel, the reason I don't use a tripod for the Arrow antenna is just because it's a personal thing, you know. Some people like it, it's subjective, and some people don't, and I don't, because with the with holding it, you can adjust it completely. And so if the signal, if the polarity switches, you can immediately change it. If the signal goes down, you know, you can move it really quickly. If it's on a tripod, unless you have a really nice tripod setup, it's kind of hard to control, and especially the polarity switch. Turning it is hard on most tripods. Some tripods don't support turning it 90 degrees at all. And I've seen other people put, they'll mount the radio onto the tripod, and I feel like that's even worse, because then, you know, say you can adjust the polarity, all of a sudden your radio's like upside down and it's turned. So, wow. Dude, I can't believe you did that. That's so cool that you talked to somebody randomly like that. That would be surprising. That would be the best surprising ham radio story I could imagine. So, what about you guys? Anybody else had a crazy, surprising ham radio experience? Maybe talking to somebody on HF like North Korea or something like that. They don't get on the radio very often, as you can imagine. Thought Emporium. Okay. Thought Emporium. I'll see if I can remember that. It'll be in the video because I just said it, so I'll go back and look it up. Cool. So there's some more satellite passes tonight. I think there's one more pass that I could do around 10 o'clock local time, and it's 9 till 10. AO92 will be back. Wow, that's a pretty cool story. This guy's on a bicycle yelling about the final frontier over here. You can see his head behind the shrubbery. Okay then, what should I do next? I'll show you my other radio, since you guys are talking about radios. I got some more radios. Check this out. There's my other Aero 2 antenna. My other radio. Battery. This is the one I normally use. I haven't been using it lately because I want to get better with the handheld, because I'm going to do a satellite demo or two at the local Ham Fest. It'll be happening in about a month. Oh yeah, I know about Satnogs. So this is a mobile radio. It's made for a car. And I built this wooden contraption so that I could put it, hang it over my shoulders. These are straps for a professional photographer. Basically, it goes over your shoulder, and on each end you would normally have a camera mounted, so you could easily have like a telephoto lens on. I want a camera on the left side, on a camera with a medium length lens on the other side, for example. So anyway, the way this works is I have a 12 volt battery, and it fits in under here, and this kind of clamps down. This little piece of wood comes up, battery goes underneath, battery clamps, and so it goes in there. And then I hang this over my shoulders, and it hangs on me, and this kind of goes around my waist. And this radio has more power, so I can talk into a satellite that's kind of got a weak, not a weak, but there's AO85. That particular satellite is kind of deaf because the connection between the antenna and the receiver broke before it went up to launch, and they had to kind of fix it, but the fix didn't quite work right. So the signals that it receives are a little attenuated. They're not as strong as they could be because of the connection being not ideally, it's not ideal. Kind of lazy right now, I don't want to explain it all. I'll explain it. So basically what happened was, okay, so there's several FM satellites. The one I just worked is SO-50. SO-50 has been in orbit for years. For a long time, it was the only FM satellite we had available. Now we have a whole lot more FM satellites. The second FM satellite that came up after SO-50, after the period where there was only one, where there was just SO-50, was AO85. AO85 was the first in the Fox series of satellites. Before it was launched, the connection between the antenna and the receiver, the radio, broke. The person that had the skills to solder it properly was not available to solder it, so they had to fix it with electrically conductive epoxy. Now, that epoxy didn't get quite the right impedance. This is what they think happened. After they launched it, people had a difficult time getting in. They realized you had to transmit with a lot more power to get into the radio, to get into the repeater, to get into the satellite. So that's why I have this radio. Handheld radios only put out about 5 watts. The one I used over there, 5 watts. It's hard to get into that satellite with only 5 watts. It's not impossible, it's just a little bit harder. So I made this setup. It puts out up to 50 watts. You can put 5, 10, or 50 watts, selectable. So I built this just for AO85. It turns out it's actually a lot easier to use than a handheld because it's got more controls on it. But on the handheld, it's kind of hard. You have to switch through functions to change the frequency and the power and stuff. This is a lot bigger, and I only have to hold the microphone, and I can set that down if I want. So it's a lot easier to use this in general to work satellites. But like I said, I'm going to be doing a demo, a satellite demo, or 2 or 3 even, at a ham fest, which is like a swap fest or a flea market for ham radio. And I want to show people that you don't have to have something elaborate like this thing over here. And in fact, I didn't need that for a long time, and I never would have built it except for AO85. So I'm trying to get good at using this handheld so I can demonstrate that you can get started with just a handheld. A lot of people have just handhelds, you know. They don't want to build that elaborate setup that I have over there. So that's why I'm going to try to do this setup. The only problem is on weekends, what were your resources to learn all this? If you had the money, would you launch a satellite? It's not about the money, it's also about the skills. I don't have the skills. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of work to launch satellites. What I recommend is if you want to get involved with satellites and actually launching them, join AMSAT and volunteer. They always need help. What's up, Adon? I'm doing pretty well. So I did think at one point it would be kind of cool if we had like a Spacecom satellite. You know, like if I could make a Kickstarter and we could have our own satellite for all the people that like Spacecoms. But you have no idea. I can only imagine how much work it takes to send up satellites. So, I mean, it's thousands of dollars, it's hundreds of hours, thousands of hours of work. It's just like, you know, getting a launch opportunity is really hard. The rockets blow up sometimes, you know. When they get launched, they don't always work right. Like AO85 had that problem. So it's just a lot of work. It's not something like one person can do or a few people can do. It's like dozens and dozens of people. If you look at the Fox series of satellites, I found a list of all the people that were involved, and it was definitely like a few dozen people, you know, that were listed. And I'm sure there were other people indirectly that helped too. So yeah, there's a lot to it. Oh, you were asking like resources that I used to learn about satellites earlier. When you get your license, I don't know if you have your license, but if you don't, when you get a license, some of the test questions are about satellites, so you can learn. Hey Don, thanks for tuning in. And what's up, Ikang YD1HVZ? Yeah, so sometimes you just learn about satellites when you learn all the information that is on the test. So that's like how I got started. And I think I first got into satellites when I first got licensed, or not long after, around 2000. And I was like, you know, 16, 17, I guess. And there were several people in my community that also did satellites at the same time. And I guess we learned together. I'm not sure, to be completely honest with you. But mostly the web, I would say. AMSAT has a Getting Started with Amateur Radio Satellites guide. You can get it on their web store. A lot of good information in that. So I would recommend that. You can watch videos on YouTube. That's cool. What's up, Raphael XE2RV? Yeah, there's a lot of resources out there. AMSAT NA has a group on Facebook. You can ask questions there. They also have a mailing list, AMSAT BB. Yeah, you can just Google stuff. There's articles. You can ask questions. There's even chat rooms, IRC. There's a Pound CubeSat on Freenode if you're into IRC. All kinds of resources. All kinds of resources. If you have any questions, you can always email me or contact me on Twitter or Facebook or something like that. If you guys are enjoying this, hit the like button and subscribe. Share the videos with your friends. If you really like it, I also have a Patreon where you can sign up to send me a small sum of money every time I release a video, or every month, depending on how I decide to leave it. You can change Patreon to either be a monthly donation or a per thing, whatever it is, like a short story or a video or whatever. So I had it set to just every video, every time I release a video, but I'm thinking about leaving on a monthly. AO92, yeah, I think I am. I'm gonna have to stop and get set up again. Okay, how many minutes is it till the AO92 pass? Is it like 10 minutes or something? Who knows what my battery's at now on this phone. I've been live broadcasting for 47 minutes. Well, let's see, I wonder, 6 minutes? All right, I'm cutting off. Well, I'll just keep going. I'll just keep going. We'll see if I can do this, guys. Oh my goodness, now you get to see me set up. All right, I'm gonna have to stop because I gotta get out my compass and figure out where it's coming from. All right, so I'm gonna restart. I'll be back in no time. Just come back, all right?